is born into a certain section of the city or born into poverty doesn't eliminate them from being successful in life. And that's what after school can do. There are a lot of things that we basically force upon the K-12 system, whether it be public or private, that they cannot provide in the hours that they have that child in session, because they do have a lot of requirements they must meet. And a lot of them are meeting state standards, or a lot of them are meeting requirements for college entrance, or meeting requirements for the next grade level. But there's a lot of things that after-school programs can do, before school or after school, on the weekends, in the evenings. Inclement weather when schools are closed, after-school programs need to be open. There needs to be a place for those kids to go safely every day, and that includes summer. And after school is going to have to sometimes sit back, take a big step back, and see how we can actually meet the true needs of children and families in after school. And you ask, well, what are the benefits of this? They're huge, absolutely and totally huge. When kids stay in school and graduate, they're more productive citizens. They're more productive on the employment lines. They're more productive in the citizenship skills as well as family skills. And that's what we need to be working on. Our picture is much bigger than what we sometimes take a look at, and we need to take a step back and look at the whole picture.
Thank you. I want to go back to the whole issue of school and after school, because we had a meeting recently talking about planning a conference. And one of the things that several of the providers brought up was, boy, it is really hard working with schools. And I'd like to get the panel's ideas about how can school and after school improve their relationships, and at what level should that take place? If I'm assuming that the response, the ideas that were expressed at that meeting have some validity. So what can we do? What can we do? We're the after-school community and the school communities out there. What can we do to improve the relationships and help make the outcomes better for children over time?
Well,
Go ahead.
I think it's been proven in St. Louis that the most appropriate thing for us to do is to first work with the superintendent's office. Typically that is the longest component and the longest process. But once you have reached agreement on what you think the activities are going to look like, then you simply move down the system. Clearly you have to get buy-in from the regional superintendents, and then you have to have buy-in from the principals themselves. I think for most principals, they are probably the most overworked person in the school system. And if you don't work with them in concert, if you don't approach them from a standpoint of providing an additional service to them, they're going to look at this as an additional activity, an additional piece of work. Where there has been success, it has been starting with the superintendent, getting buy-in there, getting buy-in from the regional superintendents, getting buy-in from the principal, who ultimately will assign the activity to a specific person in the school, or he or she might be responsible for it. But unless there is a systematic process, you will likely not have success. We have found that to be true not only in the St. Louis public school systems, but also in the private school systems that we work with, and then also in the county school systems that we work with.
I would just add to that that's kind of why we invented intermediaries, because it's very hard for programs every single program that might want to work in a school to go and do that process. So I think Wendell's talking about it from the context of if there's an intermediary that's available to help, make those contacts and get that connection made, wouldn't it be better to do it just once for a whole bunch of programs instead of every single program having to go through it over and over and over again? It's just not feasible. So.
Well, since I'm out of town, I can make negative comments, so I'll do that. Just a couple of things. And one is, are you at the table when these school reform plans are being put together? In my city, the worst urban school system in the country, there's several engagements around how we're going to reshape public education, which includes charter schools, includes a whole lot of other strategies. Where's after school in those conversations? If you're not on the front end of the conversation, don't expect that on the back end that you're going to all of a sudden be a